we've seen so many cases of women killed by their lovers, boyfriends, and their husbands. What's your opinion, and how as a youth leader, how are you tackling this issue in your location, Naivasha?
Okay, on my opinion, recently we have a number of cases of where young women are being killed, especially on Airbnb, and so those are some of the challenges. Maybe some of them were looking on the economy, how it is, so you are just giving in for any opportunity that is coming through, because most of the cases you find that these people are finding themselves on dating sites. You don't know someone, you just trust someone. So what youth are supposed to do, and especially women, is to make sure that before you start engaging with someone, at least know someone before you start engaging with them. And that way you find that even before you start getting married, there is that period of courtship. Yes.
Thank you for that honest opinion.
Yeah.
In one of the agendas in the new Flagship project, as envisioned in the Vision 2030, was the affirmative action policy, where 30% of the leaders in our social, economic, and political bases was to be headed by the youth. As at the moment, do you feel that the government and the society we are in, has it attained the 30% representation of the youth in leadership?
No, in my opinion, recently we had the general election, and at least a number of young people were voted in. But now, when it comes to the affirmative policy, now it is now the appointment where we need to appoint the young people so that we can have the representation. At least I can say we are yet to achieve that one, especially on political spaces, because the reason we are not attaining that one is most of the time young people, they don't want to be associated in politics. They want to even participating, they don't want to participate. So I think the government is trying what it can be able to do to make sure that it is engaging the young people. But because 2030 we have like 6 years to go.
It's
less than almost 5.
Less than 6 years.
So at least I hope we are going to make sure that at least there is that gap is filled. Yes.
Do you think it's possible to fill in the gap of the 30% representation of the youth in our political and social and economic space? Is it possible? Is it attainable?
It is possible if the government is willing to do that, because you find that even in the parliament we still have an issue of that gender role, where women, there is no representation, so that when we have now the women representative. So I think there is that special seat for the young people, even in county assembly, the nominations for MCAs. So I believe we can be able to achieve that one, but young people, we need to wake up and be in those positions, because if you're not in those spaces, at the end of the day, no one is going to come for us for those opportunities. We need to grab them. Yeah.
What hindrances do you feel are limiting us as youth to be in those positions? What are the mainly issues that we can appoint and say this particular issue hindered these youth from attaining this position? What are those hindrances?
So some of the challenges that I would like to point out, one is that young people, when they hear about the politics, they don't want to associate themselves with politics. So even they don't know whether we have that percent. So lack of information and not knowing their right at the end of the day. Because if there is information out there, they'll be able to know. At least we have a chance, and we need to be in those spaces. So information is not out there. Also, the young people, they're not showing interest. Yes.
Do you feel that the government needs to work harder on feeding the youth the information of the projects they have for them in mind? Do you feel there's need for the government to communicate to the youth directly, for them to be self-aware?
I believe the government has done a lot, because some of the information are on social media. Again, maybe the young people need to make sure they're accessing the information, because at the end of the day, you find even the Vision 2030 program, it is online. We also have policy for the young people. That is youth policy 2019. It is on social media. You can be able to download the information. I think the government has done a lot to make sure there is access of information. It is not for us as the young people to make sure we are accessing the right information. Yes.
In the the other flagship project in the Vision 2030 for the youth was the revision of the education and training curriculum.
Yes.
Do you feel the recent revision of the 844 system as effective to attaining the agenda of the Vision 2030?
So on comment on that, we have the 844 that has already been scrapped, and now we have a new curriculum.
Very true.
And it is challenging because this curriculum is being changed, but now the system, maybe it is not ready to accommodate now that one because of the infrastructure. Because if the system is changed and without, there is no good infrastructure, at the end of the day, it is not going to go very well. But again, on that point, for the young people, there is opportunities like TVET. It is an educational facilities for young people. Even if they are not performing well, at least on TVET they can be able to do courses that are going to give them jobs. Yeah.
The other agenda was there was to be an international sports center at Kasarani.
Yes.
That is Moi International Sports Center in Kasarani.
Yeah.
Do you feel that basing this particular institution, sports center in Nairobi, hindering youth from Turkana, Malindi, Mombasa, Nakuru, is it a hindrance to attaining the Vision 2030?
I don't think it is a hindrance because you find that the reason they have decided to choose the Moi International Stadium is because, number one, it is in Nairobi. It is the center of the Kenya. Again, it is easier to access, maybe also on the space and the facility, the size. Maybe an issue you can find that they have decided to do it in another area, but there are a number of factors they are considering. Security, because if you say we put the stadium at Samburu, there is an issue of banditry right now. Okay. So in Nairobi, at least the center of Kenya. Yeah.
But again, there's a question that arises from that particular selection of the International Sports Center, the Moi International Sports Center. The Ministry of Sports, since 2013, by then, the administration then promised us to build at least a stadium in each and every county that can be able to facilitate international games. Do you feel there was another consideration that would have made aside from the Moi International Sports Center?
Now, you talked about the stadium. In that document of Vision 2030, it want to achieve at least 30 that stadium. But now, I think we have at least 19. And here in Nakuru, we have a Faraja Stadium, which is now underway. I can see the government is trying to make sure that, especially on sports, the ministry has put some effort in sport and maybe forgetting other creative arts. Because you can see the Waziri Babu Namombo is very, very active in sport. So I think it is doing much, but now the government that is in now also promised to make sure that we have stadiums within at least to a number of counties, which is trying to do that. We have ours here in Nakuru, Faraja Stadium, which is being facilitated.
Yeah. And in Naivasha, or maybe in Nakuru generally, have you seen any youth empowerment center so far set up? So
in Nakuru County, in the specific
aside from the individual projects, like for example, your project is an empowerment center.
Yeah.
The governmental empowerment centers, are they established in most of the counties?
Recently, the cabinet secretary of ICT said that they want to ensure that each and every ward there is an ICT center and we are equipped. For the case of Naivasha, at least we have one, but I want to say it is not well equipped. It is not even equipped. We still have the challenges, but now the communication that is out there is that now the government, because it has new plan to make sure that they are reconstructing and coming up with a way on how to make sure they are rehabilitating the youth empowerment centers. Yeah.
And aside from the youth empowerment centers, there was the youth enterprise and development fund.
Yes.
That was to be offered to the youths, that is people from the age of 18 to 35.
Yeah.
That was to help the youth establish businesses because of the demand for jobs is very high, but the availability of the jobs is very low. Do you feel that the youth what do you feel that the expectations that you're expected to meet to attain the youth enterprise development fund, are they too high or are they too low for one to be able to get the loan to start up a business or something, set up something that can be bringing him or her a daily income?
So the government has done a lot in ensuring that the affirmative funds are there, and we have Youth Enterprise Fund, we have Wezo Fund, we have GAF, Women Representative. So, and what the young people are supposed to do is you just register as a group because you cannot access that fund alone. And again, you find that the young people, they get tired along the way because they feel there is a number of bureaucracies. Before you access the fund, you have to do, there are too many, so they get tired. But I want to attest that we applied for the fund and we got it in 2019, and we are doing a project in our area. So it is true there is money, but that money you cannot access alone. You have to work as a team so that you can be able to access that money.
Oh, and what happens if you fail to pay the loan on time? What happens?
So what they do is that first of all, the money doesn't have interest. Like for instance, we got 100,000. It's only 95%. That is 5,000 that facilitate now the office, but the money doesn't have an interest. So what happens is that you say that if they don't pay,
if somebody not actually, if you're not able to pay the loan on time, are the repercussions?
So there are some challenges at the end of the day, and most of the time you find that young people they will not even make to pay the money on time. So what happens? You can write a letter and tell them what are some of the reasons that are making you not to pay the loan. I don't think they can do anything much, only that to encourage the young people to pay because they understand the challenges. But there are many people who are defaulting to pay loans. Yeah.
There was the project of the 1 billion tree planting campaign and the Tree for Jobs program, and it was recommended that as you work for 4 days, and get 2,400 Kenyan shillings. Has it been implemented? Is it workable?
So I think that one came after now the previous government of Uhuru Ruto. Uhuru Ruto, they were the coalition, but now the president, Uhuru, came up with Kazi Mtaani. But now the current government of Dr. William Ruto found it, Kazi Mtaani, it is not good, and introduced now the planting of trees, which up to now it is not working. And the agreement was between the government and the county government. Like Nairobi had promised, Governor Sakaja said that the promise was this one: if the county government are going to pay the youth 2,000, the government is going to supplement the same to add it. If another county decides they are going to pay the youth 1,000, the government is going to supplement that one. So I think the county are the one who are supposed to start the project. Now the government can come in. But scrapping that project, to me, I didn't feel it was good. And again,
to the youth, right?
yes, and now they are not doing anything about that. Yeah.
What are the repercussions of withdrawing the Kazi Mtaani project from the youth? What are the changes that you experience as Naivasha?
So the repercussion for withdrawing the project, you find that young people are going to find themselves doing bad things out there. Drug abuse, theft, crime is very high. Because even that Kazi Mtaani brought young people together, and made sure that they are very busy, even if they were just collecting garbage. So I think it has some effect to the young people, especially now that the economy is very, very high. So when there is no jobs, you find that social ill behavior are very, very high. Yes.
Okay. And the other project that was to create employment was the Roads 2000, and the laborers were to be the youth.
Yeah.
And it didn't limit anybody, whether you are a skilled or an unskilled laborer. You are to be part of the project and get the little you will get from working at the site of the construction site or something.
Yeah.
And do you feel it's a nice project, or at some point you find that those people that are employed in those construction sites, most of them are people from outside, not locals? Do you feel it's a negative impact to the youth or to the society?
So that one on roles, the government has come up with many projects and promising to engage young people, and one of them is the affordable housing, where they're saying that young people are the one who are going to work. I saw the last time the president came here and launched a project at Bondeni, and I don't know when those houses were built. I don't know the criteria the government used to make sure they are recruiting those young people, or whether they are the young people in those projects, because you find that even the youth getting those jobs, sometimes it comes very hard. And I would like to urge young people, for you to work with the government, it is good that you register a company so that you can be able to get tenders. Because in the Constitution, Article 227 and 55, there is a 30% that young people, set aside for the young people. Young people, people with disability and women, they are supposed to access those jobs. So I think the government need to up their game, and also the young people, to make sure they are accessing those projects. You have asked another question, whether the people in that area, maybe that project, is it benefiting them?
Yeah.
A number of times you find that such project, people who benefit are not from that area. Maybe you can give a scenario. Like we had the previous WRC, which is coming also in this year on March. You had young people in Naivasha. They were demonstrating because they feel that it is an international event coming to Naivasha, but the young people are not being engaged. Not even the young people, the people who live there, they don't feel the impact, and we are supposed to feel the impact. Why? Because when the money comes, economy at the end of the day, it will go up. And when people get the money, we are going to use that money in that area to grow that county or the ward. But when we have other people coming from other areas, when they get the money, they will go. So we don't feel the impact. But I think the government needs to make sure it is looking up to that. A certain percentage, we are not refusing for them to come with other people from their areas, because at least you know your team, but at least make sure you're engaging the locals in that area so that they can feel the impact of any project coming on board. Yeah.
That's great. Have there been any adjustments made to the youth flagship projects?
Adjustments so far, I went through those programs and I see they are the same. Maybe some adjustment maybe on that 1 billion trees, because you find that now the government has promised, or they want to make sure by 2032 at least they have planted 15 billion trees. That's I think that was the adjustment, that at least from 1 billion to 15 billion trees. Yeah.
Okay, there's something I was to ask, but I don't know how I let it slide.
Okay.
You've mentioned that you encourage the youth to apply for tenders because the Constitution clearly states that it's a 30% for the people living with disabilities, women, and the youth. Right?
Yes.
Okay, is it possible for me? There's that as you apply for a tender, you need to accompany the tender with a bank statement for you to be accorded the letter of supply. How do you go about it if I qualify for the tender, I have all that required, but my financial statement is really holding me, and I cannot go ahead with the project?
So an issue of money is very challenging, especially So for you to get the tender, once you have to register a company or either a sole proprietorship or limited company, you make sure that you are registering a company so that you can be able to get the tender, because it requires you to have some document. For a limited company, you have CL12. For young people who are living with disability, make sure that you have at least the document from the National Council for
People living with disability. We take a quick break. We'll be back in a few.
Faraja TV, Chemi Chemi ya Furaha.
Leo shetani ameamua sijui aje akikani. Sauti na
usiku na mchana nakupa sifa, day and night, Lord.
Praise God, our viewers. From wherever you're watching us from, we love you, we cherish you. I, Jack Favor, together with DJ Tish, will be bringing you Nuru ya Injili Gospel Show every Sunday from 6 to 10 a.m. I will be bringing you different inspired ministers of the word, amazing guests and artists that will grace the show. You will also be having an opportunity to greet and waking up your friend, as well as sending a song request that will be playing for you right here on Faraja TV. Hii si ya kukosa. Tupatane kila Jumapili, tubarikiwe pamoja. God bless.
presenting Dawn Dialogues, where every sunrise sparks a conversation. Join me at the break of dawn for that provoking journey through the issues that matter, from insightful discussions on politics and business to heartwarming stories from our social fabric. Dawn Dialogues is a compass to navigate the day ahead. Engage in riveting conversations led by me, Wangeshi Mukoi, shedding light on the latest headlines, business trends, and the heartbeat of our society. Connect with us live, share your opinions, thoughts, and questions as we create space for dialogue and understanding. Catch us live every single Monday to Friday at 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Dawn Dialogues, where every sunrise sparks a conversation.
Faraja TV.
Praise God, our viewers. From wherever you're watching us from, we love you, we cherish you. I, Jack Favor, together with DJ Tish, will be bringing you Nuru ya Injili Gospel Show every Sunday from 6 to 10 a.m. I will be bringing you different inspired ministers of the word, amazing guests and artists that will grace the show. You will also be having an opportunity to greet and waking up your friend, as well as sending a song request that will be playing for you right here on Faraja TV. Hii si ya kukosa. Tupatane kila Jumapili, tubarikiwe pamoja. God bless.
Thank you for keeping it Faraja TV. Joining me here in studio is Simon Wakaba, a youth leader based in Naivasha, and we've been discussing on the youth flagship projects as envisioned in the Vision 2030. How far? 6 years apart, and we'd love to know the progress of the youth flagship projects and their usefulness to our youth in the nation. Before we went for the break, you were telling us more about the tenders, how you go about applying for a tender, and how to ensure that there are no hindrances while getting the letter of supply. It's called the letter of supply, right?
You have LPO.
Yeah, LPO.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, as I was saying earlier, is that in the Constitution, that is Article 22755, 2010, there is
Segment.
there is something which has been reserved. 30% reservation for the young people, people with disability, and women, so that they can be able to get those tenders. But again, for you to get the tenders, you need to make sure that you have registered a company. You can decide to register a company, either a sole proprietorship, partnership company, or limited company, so that you can have those documents. And now, when you have those documents, you need to register with AGPO, that is access to government procurement opportunities. You get the certificate so that it can at least give you now the way. When you apply for the tender, they know that you are a young person. Like I was going through the Nakuru County website, and I saw that there are those tenders set aside for the young people. But young people don't know whether they know that information.
People are not aware.
But again, they feel that there is challenge in registering, because registering you have to have at least good money, like 10,750 for a limited company. But now the challenge, they feel that when we get the tender, where are we going to get the money to do the supply? That's the main challenge for the young people.
Very true.
But again, I would like to encourage them. We have institutions that we can be able to work with them, like banks. But again, you need to make sure that you are doing your savings so that you can get the loans to do your supply. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And how are the flagship projects for the youth contributing to the growth of the economy of the country?
So the main agenda, maybe for coming up with those projects, one is to make sure that we have a country that has access to all the opportunities, and especially focusing for the young people. Because you find that, like last year on December, we had a Youth Connect Africa Summit with the theme Youth Innovating a Borderless African Renaissance, where you find that it is a real way to make sure that not the young people, they can be able to go beyond Kenya and in Africa, to make sure they are innovating and working with other youth from other countries. Last time we heard the president saying about the visa race. Yeah, to make sure that at least there is ease in movement, and the business will be awesome.
Yeah, actually the visa-less travel to South Africa was a very great achievement for us as youths, because can you imagine going to South Africa visa-less, and you can stay in South Africa 3 months without a visa, with a temporary visa. Yani, you don't have to do the tedious of getting a live-in visa for yourself. It was a very great achievement, which is a great contribution to the growth of the economy of Kenya. What are the strategies put into place to accelerate the sustainability of the youth flagship projects?
So now, maybe what the government is supposed to do, because you have talked about now the visa, and you find that, okay, there are some people who having a visa race is good, but for the young people, they even getting that visa, it is an issue.
Very true.
So I think the government should make sure the jobs here in Kenya first are very available and very accessible for the young people. Because if we want to get the visas and go to other countries to look for jobs, I don't think it is a good thing. So I think the government need to do a lot to make sure that young people are getting the jobs, because it is their mandate to make sure that the people of Kenya, because we are paying tax at the end of the day. We cannot pay tax and in return you are not getting development at the end of the day.
Yeah. But the government has been working towards seeking jobs for its citizens to other nations like the UAE, Canada, Australia, the US, and them. Is it a positive contribution to the youth flagship project?
You know, sometimes you find that maybe they are just promises. There is jobs out there in the country, but now getting those jobs has been an issue. Because you find that like president went to another country, we signed a deal with this country, we need a number of youth. But now, when you come to the qualifications, you find that we don't qualify. Because for nurses, also the bureaucracy now hinder the young people to access those jobs or even go into other countries. And that way you find that even when they go to other countries, which I don't want to mention, you go thinking that you're going for a greener pasture, then you come back, you don't have anything, others have been beaten. So it has also its challenges.
The negative impact
and positive side of it.
Yeah. And do you think the government is responsible for what happens to its citizens? So once they're out there, do you feel that the government should take the security a notch higher for those people that traveled outside the country to work? Do you feel that way?
100%. Why? Because we have a certain that department.
Very true.
And each and every country, we have the ambassadors for those countries. And the work of the ambassadors is to make sure the affairs of the people, especially from Kenya, they know what is happening. They know how many people who are in that country from Kenya. Where are they staying? They have the data. I think the government has a responsibility to make sure that they are safeguarding the rights of their people in other countries. Yeah.
I wanted you to share with us a success stories and an example, but you already mentioned that you are a beneficiary of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, and that is quite impressive. How was it tedious to get the loan? How did it go?
So first, what I would like to say is that if you want to get something, you have to believe in yourself and have a goal. And we applied like in 2015. It took some time. We even gave up. But now when COVID came, I got a call from a youth fund officer and told me now, Simon, you and your team, you can now come and get the money. Because first you have to apply and tell them the project that you want to do before they give you the money. Even you need to come up with the map on the area where you're going to set up the business. So it takes time, but now working with the government and the young people, there is a trust issue. But again, I think the requirement are to make sure that they know the people who are working there. Because you find that for us to get that, or any youth group to get that, you need to make sure that 70% are youth, women or PWDs. And even if they are going to add other people, but at least 100% leadership should be young people, PWDs or women, so that they can be able to access those roles.
You've mentioned that it took time from 2015, then received a call in
2019. 2019, yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
Those are 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Was it a hindrance to you attaining your goal? You had that fire to achieve the goal in 2015.
Yeah.
By the time you got the loan, was the fire dimmed or was the spirit still high?
Even after applying for that loan, we even forgot there is something that we had applied for. And when the money came, we had to decide we have to do farming. No, it is time of COVID. What are we going to set? But we sat down with members and decided on what we are going to do. And we decided to set up a snack point because our organization works, basically it is about entertainment. But entertainment, it is seasonal. So we need to have something that is running day by day. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's a specific achievement.
Yes.
And I wanted you to mention maybe another specific achievement or milestone reached in the youth flagship project so far in the nation, not basically on you as a personal, on a personal basis.
So I would like to say there is a number of achievement that has been done. Even that in that project, there was set aside money or a project especially for sports. And you find that now with Waziri Ababu Namwamba, who came in, the cabinet secretary for sport and youth affairs, has a project that is Talanta Hera. Even the tournament going around the counties and making sure that the young people are playing those sports, and also they are getting chance to go to higher, not or even working with even outside the country.
Has those achievements led to the establishment of a projected sports lottery fund?
So yes, because you find that when that money come in, there is a number of projects that is supposed to do, maybe to facilitate on those sports, making sure that the players have the jersey to play, the shoes, the balls, and that one is ensuring that the young people are not engaging in ill behaviors in the community. When we have activities for the young people, at the end of the day, you will not find young people doing drugs. They will do something constructive with their talent. But I would like to urge the government to make sure they are looking even to other creatives, because even in that project, you find that there are to make sure that we have empowerment centers for creatives. We need to make sure that we have the amphitheaters. Like in Nakuru, we have just Players Theatre. In Naivasha, I don't know what we have, but we are working to make sure that at least we have an amphitheater, which we are looking up to. So they need to make sure that they are accommodating each and every young person, not to focus in one sport, which is football.
Yeah, they are focusing so much on sports. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and real quick, I'm saying time is not on our side. It's 8:56. We began a little bit late because we had some technical issues that are now resolved. But thankfully, we are on air. And courtesy of our able team, I'd love you to tell our viewer what Simon Wakaba does and your contribution to the Youth Flagship project as an individual.
As an individual, so personally, what I do to make sure that I'm participating in that is making sure that I'm accessing the right information. Because with the right information, I will know which project has been done, and also you have an evidence to make sure that you are speaking truth to power. There is accountability when you have the right information. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm urging other young people to be very, very active, to make sure that even at the ward level, know what is the work of the MCA, so that we can be able to keep them on check. Because if you don't, you can't keep your MCA on check, even the other leaders up there, the governor, the president, we cannot be able to keep them on check. And also working with young people in different skills, trainings, to make sure that I disseminate the same information to them, I share the information with them, so that they can be able to, so that we can have a bigger number who have the information and be able to reach the information to other young people. And by doing so, we'll have a community where young people, they have skills, access to information, and everything will be okay. Yeah,
I'm so passionate about the youth, by the way, because we are the leaders of tomorrow. And tomorrow, Collins Cheriot and Janet Mkenya will be joining me here tomorrow, and the topic of discussion will be youth renaissance. Thereafter, our guest for the day will be Francis Njoroge Josh, the political advisor of the Office of the Governor. So it's something you'd not love to miss. It will come a long way in educating our youths out there.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's 8:58, and that marks the end of the Dawn Dialogue show. Thank you for staying tuned and keep watching Faraja TV.
Faraja TV, chemichemi ya furaha.
Yo, welcome guys to the biggest and most exciting show in the 254, where we bring you exciting topics, great music, your favorite artists, and good times.
Join us each and every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Faraja Mashup. It's your boy Big Man Kyuga.
And your boy Big Willie, aka the Big Kahuna.
Faraja TV, chemichemi ya furaha.